Hey, it's Dana Wilde with the Mind Aware, and welcome. This is so much fun for me today because I'm going to be doing a case study of Train Your Brain for you, and I'm going to be interviewing Louisa Dykstra from Norwex. She's had just a really exciting month, and she's been using the Brain Overhaul program. She's one of our beta testers, and so I just want to talk with her a little bit about how it's been going. So hi, Louisa, welcome to the call.
Hi, Dana. Thanks so much for asking me.
I'm so glad to have you here. Maybe the best way to start, why don't we start with the introduction? Maybe tell us a little bit about your Norwex business and why you got started, when you got started, that type of thing.
Sure. Good, bad, and ugly, right? That's what you want?
Exactly.
Okay. So I had one previous experience with a home party company. And I was absolutely awful at it because I felt really, really bad taking people's money. So I never went anywhere. I enjoyed getting the product at a discount, but it certainly was never a money-making thing. So when my cousin told me about Norwex and said, "Oh my goodness, this is a perfect fit for you. It so fits with what you believe in." But she mentioned it was a party, and I was like, "Oh yeah, see, I'm not a salesperson." And then she said it had to do with cleaning, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't like to clean." So I just really blew her off. So she I finally got the claws in my hands and got the idea that, oh, this is not just like another green way to clean, but this is just a totally easier way to clean. I started getting to know the company more, and that it was beyond just me sharing products with people. It was a company with a total mission to change the world. And so with her help, I started changing my picture of myself. One of the things that really helped me change that right up front is Norwex said, "We're not looking for salespeople, we're looking for educators." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm an educator." That's what I used to do. So that was really easy for me to make that transition. But then Sonia, who is my mentor, has been a Train Your Brain follower. She's also someone who just naturally thinks positively, I think, but she has taken the things with, the perfect language and that kind of thing. And so she just talked to me that way from the get-go, about, of course, you're the right person to do this and that kind of thing. So we went from there.
Oh, that's awesome. And so how long ago did you start your business?
So that was 3.5 years ago, which makes me like practically a grandma in Norwex because it was so new.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so tell me a little bit, let's get a snapshot of kind of what your business and your life was like before you started with Train Your Brain, and then how it's kind of changed since then.
Right. The biggest one was I just had this image of I'm not that person, that's successful in something like this. I'm not outgoing. I have a hard time talking to strangers. I had all these pictures in my head of the reasons why I love these products. I'm a good educator, but I'm never going to be an outstanding salesperson or a top leader or anything because, I'm just not that kind of person. And so learning, it's become so much a part of who I am now that it's hard to go back and say like the first time, I heard about Train Your Brain and that kind of thing. But I just started shifting my mental picture to say, well, why not me? I have special gifts that other people don't have. And why wouldn't I be one of the people to carry this mission forward?
It's so interesting. While you're talking, I can totally identify with what you're saying because it does happen where you become such a different person that it's really hard to even remember how you thought before. I know I've had that experience myself where you start to see yourself in such a different way, and it seems almost unbelievable that you thought the other way. Do you know what I mean?
Right. So I would say I listened to the Train Your Brain audio, the original stuff, and I would use that, with myself and with my team on some level. Like one of my favorites is we had a New Year's meeting where we wrote down what are all the things that frustrate you or that hold you back in your business. And then let's practice flipping those into, from, oh, I'm just so bad at hostess coaching into, I love that by the time I walk into a party, that hostess has become my friend and we're both really excited about the party, working. So I worked with my team on those kind of things, but the biggest thing is I still didn't see myself as that person that could be wildly successful. I saw myself as a big piece of the success of my leader, who is the top leader in Norwex, So I kind of saw myself kind of in that supporting role, not a person to be on stage with recognition, all those kind of things. And that is what flipped for me this summer when I started doing the brain overhaul and really dive into it deeply.
Totally. You nailed it. That's exactly right. And so you have had a really big summer since you've been doing the brain overhaul. And I think maybe share with everybody a little bit about, if it's not too personal, talk a little bit about how your team has been growing, you've been doing well, but your own personal journey with getting more personal sponsors. Do you want to talk about that?
Right. So so my story was I am really good at building leaders because I'm good at helping women feel good about themselves. I'm good at helping them believe in themselves. But I personally don't have that strong of a personal business because I value my family time. I'm not going to be one of those people that earns a trip. I just don't have all those personal recruits because I'm this kind of person. And so this summer just flipped me into saying, there's no reason. There's really nothing holding you back. You can absolutely have the family life you want and have as many personal recruits as you want and earn trips. You just have to take off that barrier that says I have to do it according to this specific picture or it's not going to work. And so once you flip your brain, then you get all these ideas about, oh, well, I can do fundraisers for organizations and boost my sales. And I can do parties on Facebook. I can, so I had kind of held back from that. There were people on my team having great success with parties on Facebook. And I was like, oh, I don't really need to go there. I'm just going to stick with, So once I flipped my mind to say, you can do anything you want, then I'm like, well, why wouldn't I? Do all these different kind of things where I can tuck my kids into bed and then quick do a 45-minute party on Facebook and then go to bed myself, So it just opened up all these kinds of ideas. So
I love that.
The story that I stopped, story that I stopped telling myself was, I'm just not that person, and started saying, of course I'm that person. I started writing mantras of, I'm a top leader and I'm a top recruiter and, these kind of things. Just saying the number one focus of my business is personal recruits. It had never occurred to me before that the number one focus of my business could be personal recruits, because just by default, because of the story I was telling myself, the number one focus of my business was building leaders, which is great. I was good at it. But when I just shift my focus, look what happens.
I love it. I'm just my heart is just swelling with excitement because it's so neat when you suddenly realize, oh my gosh, I can have it all. I don't have to give up my family life or tucking the kids in bed to also have a rockin' team and to have a rockin' personal business, be able to do it personally. In fact, tell everybody how many people you sponsored in August.
August was a little crazy. So in July, I had this aha of, oh my goodness, the number one focus of my business can be personal recruits. And then in August, Norwex handed us a month of, hey, how about a free kit for a month? Go out and see what you can do with it. And I was like, oh my goodness, they did it just for me, And so I brought in 24 new people in August. And that, that's definitely more than I brought in the whole previous 12 months. I would have told myself the story of there's no way I can start 24 new people in August. But then I changed the story to look at all these amazing tools that we have. And, I started this automated email series so that everybody gets their training. And I can't even tell you, when you move your brain, the answers come. The ideas are all there. We're just all holding ourselves back.
Boy, you just said something so powerful there. And I want to go back because, every time you talk, I feel like I want to recap like 6 things. So let me just narrow it down to 2. But the one thing I want to recap is what's kind of funny is when you said like Norwex did this just for me. Because it almost feels like that, doesn't it? Like it feels like, oh my gosh, right when my thinking got right, then all these things started to happen in my world that are perfect for me, but, and then the other thing you said is, when your thinking gets right, your brain gets more resourceful and ideas come to you. And what makes me kind of laugh, like, let's go back to this idea of the prior year, you had never sponsored 24 people like in the year, and now you did it in this month. And some people would say, well, that's because the free kit was offered and that's why it happened. But what I wonder is, if you hadn't changed your thinking first when that happened, would you have seen it as that kind of opportunity, or would it have been right. Just like, oh, well, so they're offering the free kit, but you still would have, I don't know. I know this isn't a full question, but I think you're getting what I'm asking. Can you talk about that a little bit, about the shift there?
Absolutely. Because what I kind of picture in my head, if I had to guess, is if I had not been doing, the brain overhaul stuff and was just according to my other thinking, I'm guessing I would have brought in probably 5 or 6 new people in August, which still, that's a great month.
Right. Sure.
But just with the barriers lifted, it was, and it wasn't as if I was frantically working. I mean, I was on the computer a lot. I did a lot of work, but it didn't feel frantic. It just, the energy was flowing, the ideas were flowing. I was excited. And so, that's one of the biggest things that I have pulled away from this, the brain overhaul, is the idea that if you take action at a point where you're in fear or worry or desperation, it's not going to work out. So you literally are better off to go take a nap, go take a walk, get your mental attitude right, and then take your action. So I've really been trying to stress that with my team.
You nailed it. You nailed it. It's totally it. I was thinking about that when you were saying I didn't feel like I was frantically working. It felt like, really what you were was excited and like wanting to take action from that place, because life is just so great and it just gets better all the time, so who doesn't love to work your business when you're feeling like that? It's such a different place than,
exactly.
I got to call 6 customers tonight, totally different place to be at. It's fantastic. Oh, good for you. Is there anything else, like if people were going to say, is there anything else that you could say about what you need to do to be successful, or what's working for you now? I don't know if in the brain overhaul, if you got some different marketing ideas that are working for you, because we've got the whole section on specific types of marketing and things like that, or if, there's anything, like if you were to say to somebody a few tips on if you want to move in your business and have the kind of success I'm having, what would those things be?
Right. Well, and of course, the funny thing is all of those marketing ideas probably wouldn't have done anything for me unless my brain shifted to say that I can do it. Like there's all the ideas about video marketing and that kind of thing. And I would have been like, oh, I'm not a techie person. I can't do video marketing. And when you just lift that barrier, then you get on and you YouTube, how do you work iMovie, and you watch the 5-minute tutorial and you're like, oh, well, that's easy. I can totally do it. And I can create this beautiful photo montage for my daughter's birthday that makes me cry every time I watch it. And, you just, when you feel like you can, then you can take all those tips and they come so easily. They work so well.
I love that. It's just been fantastic. You really get this. I mean, Louisa, part of the reason I wanted to talk with you is not just because you're having so much success using the material from the brain overhaul, but because I know you really get it. I mean, you really understand that if I make that shift in my mind, my brain's just going to take care of it. Like, it takes all the pressure off me. I just have to make that mind shift, do some mind work experiments, like get my brain trained, and then boom, everything else will kind of sort itself out. So I appreciate that. You're just such a rocket example of everything. You know, do you
Oh, you're so sweet.
do you want to tell people your Earl, your website, so that if they want to check you out or further have a further conversation with you, they can find you?
Sure. They could either find me on Facebook at Being Green is Easy. So facebook.com/Being Green is Easy. And there's only one G. So BEINGREEN is easy. Or www.beinggreeniseasy to learn more.
Awesome. And we'll include that link to underneath the video so that people, if you want to have a conversation, you want to talk to Louisa, she's here. And other than that, I just want to say thank you so much for doing this, Louisa. It's been so great to have you. And thank you, everybody, for listening in. We'll get you more information about the brain overhaul, too, soon. We'll include the link once it's available because we're going to be announcing more about that real soon. So this is Dana Wilde with The Mind Aware, and thank you for being here.